of this attack. So if you look at this particular picture, you'll understand that this particular bomb actually wiped out a whole city, Hiroshima, and barely any building survived in this area, or any person survived in this area. So it was a devastating attack on the Japanese. And the second attack was on the Nagasaki, which also killed many people. So this was the modern picture of this area, Hiroshima, and now it is a very developed area. But before that, it was destroyed. So Imperial Japan's Nanjing massacre, which I told you before, they carried out extrajudicial killings. They killed more than 300,000 Chinese. And if you look at this in the modern times, this is the reason that Chinese are still Chinese, they still remember this particular thing. And even today, their political, relationship is not that good. So Unit 731, as I told you before, it was meant for biological warfare, in which the Japanese, they killed, more than 500,000 people in experiments. So actually, it was, a very, very brutal act by the Japanese. And this unit was actually hell on earth, and in which they carried out testing on the innocent people, prisoners, children, and different types of people. So this was Imperial Japan, and this was their aim, but because of the nuclear weapons, that stopped. Another important thing took place in East Asia was the Korean War between South Korea and North Korea. Okay, what happened in 1950s? I told you before that Koreas were won before the World War. And after World War II, Koreas were divided. South Korea went to America, and North Korea went to Soviet Union. Okay, Soviet Union was a communist state and North America was a capitalist state. So America got South Korea, which became capitalist state, and North Korea became a communist state. Okay, so what happened in 1950s, that North Korea wanted to join the Koreas, and they wanted to unite Koreas actually. So North Koreans, they carried out a secret attack on South Korea with the support of China and Russia at that time. So a war took place in this area. So it was a surprise attack in the 1950s, and America, and their supporters, they were, you can say, they were pushed to wall, and it was a very huge attack. So America then decided to support South Korea in this war, in the Korean War. So American President, US President at that time, Harry Truman, he garnered support of his allies, European allies, and they also passed a resolution in the UN. And the idea was to stop the expansion of communism. So they also brought a huge force in South Korea to stop the North Korean advance. But initially, what happened? The North Koreans were very aggressive, and they swept huge territories, and they pushed the American forces and the South Korean forces near Busan, which was a very far away place. So America launched counteroffensive later on, and they carried out amphibious warfare, and the South Korean position was in Busan, as you can see in this map. It was their defensive position. The North Korean forces pushed the South Korean forces and the American forces to Busan. But America later on carried out operation, and from Incheon, which was an important area, and it was a maritime attack, actually amphibious attack, and US carried out a huge attack. They used all sorts of weapons which were there at that time, just to protect themselves, and just to kick out the North Korean forces from South Korea. So it was a huge attack, and America then pushed the North Korean forces later on, and also threatened to use nuclear weapons, and which thwarted actually the Chinese